I was surprised by this number. How do you actually go about building homes?
Well, the heart of Habitat is we build with families, not for families. So in the U.S., volunteers come together with partner families who qualify by not being able to afford or obtain a mortgage on their own without some assistance. They have to put in sweat equity, hundreds of hours of actually working on their home and other people's homes, and then they have to commit to paying back a very affordable no-profit mortgage, and those funds recycle in the community. And then volunteers come together and build those homes under professional supervision, and in that process we've been able to help now almost 600,000 families around the world.
Jonathan, give us a sense of how the profile of the families who are applying for these Habitat homes have changed over the last couple of years, before the crisis, during the crisis, and now in the aftermath of the crisis.
Well, Scarlett, we've seen the profile hasn't changed that much. What has changed is the mix of housing solutions that we provide. So a typical family that we partner with would have an income of 30 to 50% of the area median income. And what we have seen is, in many markets, suddenly with the economic crisis, more and more empty and foreclosed homes. So we've significantly increased the number of rehabs and repairs that we're doing to get families in those homes, because empty homes really pull down a neighborhood and pull down the property values around it. So where those exist, we've shifted our mix.
Did the housing crisis help or hurt you?
I think the housing crisis on the whole hurt, because it hurt so many families, and our mission is more people in homes. The one byproduct is it did increase affordability, but of course funding and incomes went down, so on a net basis, it still hurt. Are
you the bad guy for the rest of the housing business? Do you crowd out the for-profit companies?
No, we have wonderful partnerships with the for-profit housing world, because if you think about it, we only build with subprime borrowers. So we're accretive too, and what we see is when Habitat comes in and builds, we actually improve the property values around us, so we're adding value to the broader market. In fact, one of our key initiatives in response to the housing crisis has been what we call our Neighborhood Revitalization Initiative, where we're building coalitions of partners and coming in with new homes, rehabs, and critical home repairs, and then bringing other partners in to try to turn around these once promising neighborhoods that declined as a part of the recession.
Jonathan, I'm interested in getting your take on the housing market. We've got a lot of data coming up this week. What is the biggest risk, in your view, to this recovery?
What we're seeing, obviously it applies a little bit less to Habitat, but I think there's a huge risk of the pendulum having swung too far, that now families can't obtain credit. One could certainly argue credit got too loose in the heyday, but what we need to make sure is that qualified families can still obtain a loan. We don't want to be in a situation where only people who don't need a loan can get one.
And Jonathan, you used to work at Goldman Sachs, at Marriott, at Disney. Give us a sense of the best practices that you've taken over from the private sector to Habitat.
I think nonprofits can't be run like businesses, but they should be run professionally. And what we've seen is a lot of the same principles apply, whether it's a for-profit or a nonprofit. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we operate across 80 countries. We've got millions of people involved in our work, and so the principles of good management, I think, apply across. Yeah. And I had the chance to be involved in real estate in many of those ventures, so between managing diverse store bases as well as large real estate projects.
Jonathan, I got a best practices advice. I am a threat to society with a hammer in my hand. There is no nail that I have ever hit straight. So you want to keep me as far away from your housing projects as possible.